Hello and welcome to Whiteboard. Our guest today is someone who I don't know. In fact, I did not even know that he existed as an astrologer. And about 2 months back, I happened to see him speak on an astrological topic on a channel other than his own. And then I was so hooked on his astrology that every alternate day, I've made it a point to watch one video from his YouTube channel. He has got more than 365 videos on his channel, and each video is quite a gem. So he's got more than 365 videos on his channel. I've probably in the last 2 months watched somewhere about 30 or 40 of his videos, and I cannot seem to get enough of it. So our guest today is Babajit Kalita, whose YouTube channel is called Exotic Astrology, and I can assure you, his astrology is quite exotic. It's quite hooking. Not only the content is hooking, but he himself is quite hooking. He, I think, must be about, my guess, he has not told me because I don't know him. He must be about 27, 28 or thereabouts.
25.
Oh, 25. Okay. So I did think you looked much younger than 28, but my guess was you were about that age. He's got a degree in engineering from SRM College in Tamil Nadu near Chennai, near Kanchipuram, because I've seen your Kanchipuram video. So you said your college in Tamil Nadu was near Kanchipuram. And now he's studying his master's, completing or about to complete his master's degree in engineering from a university. I don't know the name of the university.
Göttingen University, Germany.
Oh, okay, so that university, I don't know the German name, in Germany, and he's also an eligible bachelor. His parents are looking for a bride for him. He himself doesn't have any girlfriends except one who he speaks to only if she speaks with him. So,
you recorded that also.
This is all from your video, so you've told me nothing. Okay, so this is shared public information. So, ladies and gentlemen, without wasting much time, I would like Babajit. I've got 6 questions for you, Babajit, and these are questions which I definitely would like an answer. It's not as if I have some questions for which I know the answer and I'm asking you those questions. These are questions, I think, which every student of astrology would like to know. And I think these are very important questions of astrology. And I would like to delve into your treasure trove to find out some answers. So my first question, Babajit, is about fate and free will. Do we have free will at all, or is everything linked to fate? And if we have free will, that means we can change the course of action from what is in our fate, which means astrology should not work. So either astrology works, and that means it's all controlled by our karma, or we have free will, in which case astrology should not work. So what is your view on fate and free will?
Well, before I start, I would like to thank you first of all for sending me the invitation. And you are yourself, as you said, you are more into KP astrology. So you are yourself a master into prediction, and it's your humility that you are glorifying me like this.
I'm a student of astrology, and I have absolutely no hesitation in saying that what you have achieved at 25, I've been studying astrology for, loosely for about 18, 20 years, but very seriously for the last 10 years. But I think what you know about astrology is far beyond, my knowledge. So that's the truth. So I would like you to continue with the question on fate and free will.
Yeah. So basically, this question is a very important question which everybody has in their minds, that, is it all destined, or do we have the power to change things also? Yes. So if you want the answer to this question, we have to go to the scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, we all know what Bhagavad Gita is. It is spoken in between of a battle where the Kurus and the Pandavas are about to fight, and then Arjuna is confused of what to do, what not to do. So Krishna says to Arjuna that even Arjuna asks these kind of questions. Yes, what will happen here? What will happen there? What should I do here? What should I do there? And what will be the result? Yes, because most of the people are interested in the results.
Yes.
so, so Krishna says to Arjuna very clearly. He is very clear when he says this. He says Gahana Karmano Gati, which means law of karma is very complex. You cannot understand. Yes. So which means that what we do is in our hands, but what results we get is not in our hands. Now there are many factors into this. Like Lord Krishna says, like the Gita mainly speaks of 5 factors, which I will not go into detail now because it will take a long time. But primarily the what the Gita says is that we always have the free will to do what we want. Okay, so which means that suppose we basically, what's the birth chart, the astrological kundli, as we say, the horoscope. So horoscope is basically what it is: a snapshot, it's a photo of the planetary alignments and the orientations when you are born. Yes.
Yes.
So which means that that will tell you who you were when you were born. Okay.
Okay.
That means suppose you have a planet placed somewhere. Till the time you were born, that was the way you were functioning regarding that planet.
Okay.
And that is absolutely clear. There's no ambiguity in that.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that after you were born, you have not done anything. You have done so many things. Yes.
Okay.
So for example, I always give this analogy that suppose there was actually this, that it's like some people are rich, some people are poor. Yes.
Yes.
This is because somebody has done some good in their past lives and somebody has maybe done some bad, because of which they are facing poverty since birth. Okay. But that doesn't mean that since the time you are born you don't have the power to change it. Okay. So now suppose let's take an example. Suppose your Venus is very badly placed, as many people say. So maybe your Venus is in a difficult shape, I mean in the horoscope, in the birth chart. All right. Or maybe your 7th house has a malefic, or maybe your uh, Venus is hemmed between 2 malefics, or it is conjunct, or either way, suppose you have a vibe that your relationships don't work, which happen so much with people these days. So then you look to the horoscope, then you see, oh, my Venus is in Virgo, it's anyways not going to work. My Venus is afflicted by Saturn, it's not going to work. Well, then we can very much ensure that we do the remedies for the planets. Okay, so let me give you an example. Suppose Venus is afflicted by Saturn here, because when I say about the remedies, then you will understand this fate, free will, this thing much more. There comes the free will. Okay, so suppose Venus is conjunct or afflicted by Saturn. This is a very famous yoga or combination which we see there. People say, oh, I have seen a lot of tears in my relationships. Okay, so now we have to understand who is causing the problem. Yes. So if Venus is related to Saturn, that means Saturn is causing the problem or karma, whatever you call it. Ultimately you are suffering. Yes, that's the thing here.
Yes.
So that means when you were born, before that you had done something to your partners, because of which, as per law of karma, you are supposed to get that back. Yes. Now that you cannot change, but what you can change is, or what is under your control is your reaction. Yes. That is why the word responsibility is there. What is the word responsibility? It is the ability to respond.
Yes.
Nothing more than that.
Yes.
So suppose somebody is giving you tears. Yes, some person of the opposite sex. Then you have to make sure that you do not further aggravate that karma. Yes. Which means if Saturn is troubling you, do not bring Mars into the picture.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
What is Mars? Why Saturn and Mars are called opposites? This has to be understood. And without that, you can't understand this. So Saturn represents tears and Mars represents the pleasure which we get when we defeat somebody or when we hit somebody. Yes. So when we take help of Mars, then Saturn will always be there on the other side.
Okay.
Because when we are hitting somebody, somebody else will come and hit us. Yes.
Yes.
So when somebody is giving us tears, it means that we have used Mars or Martian traits. Yes, now because this is a video on astrology, so I am speaking on very technical terms, Mars and Saturn. So it is very important that we do not uh, cause more violence, because then what happens is we are using our free will to do wrong things. Yes, and then that will have a repercussion somewhere in the future. Yes, now the question comes of remedies. The question is, if at all, can we do remedies, and can these things be taken care of? The answer is yes, that is
Mhm.
very true.
Okay.
We can do remedies, and we can get cleansed from the negative karma which is there, because remedies are what basically. And when I speak of remedies, I don't mean some any Tom, Dick and Harry remedy which is there in India somewhere. You go to some village, somebody says you something. No,
Mm.
I'm not saying of those remedies. I'm
Mm.
saying of authorized bona fide remedies which are coming from the parampara traditions. Yes,
Mhm.
so when we when we do those remedies, especially which is in form of mantra, because in Kali Yuga it is said, see, in the other four ages, yes, I mean, total there are four ages.
That's right.
There is Yes, then there is Dwapar Yuga, then
Yeah.
there is Treta Yuga, and then there is Kali Yuga. But in this manvantara, the Dwapar and Treta exchanges. Yes,
Okay.
so the Dwapar becomes third and Treta becomes second. This is a
Okay.
special manvantara system which where this is applicable. Otherwise, Dwapar is always the second, Treta is always the third,
Okay.
and then comes Kali Yuga, of course. So in these four yugas, there are different ways of dharma actually. Yes, which means there are different ways of remedies and different ways of obtaining spiritual perfection. So
Mhm.
if suppose you were an astrologer in Satyuga, then probably you would not suggest the remedies which you give now. Yes, because that time the Yuga dharma was different. Yuga dharma means the dharma for the Yuga, that
Okay.
specific time period. So
Okay.
in Satyuga, the dharma was pertaining to meditation, yes, and austerities, because people had very strong physical bodies, they could live very long. Yes, but that is not possible now. Yes, you cannot tell a person then go and meditate for 10 years in the Himalayas. The person can't do that. So then the person will say, oh, I don't want to do any meditation, I will not come to this session only.
Mm. Mm.
Then in Dwapar Yuga, if you take the second Yuga, the Yuga Dharma which was there was of doing yagyas. Yes,
Okay.
yagyas means doing fire sacrifices. But
Okay.
that is also not possible in Kali Yuga, because if you read the Valmiki Ramayana, you will hear descriptions of these yagyas which were performed. Miles and miles were those places. Na?
Mm.
The Yagya
Mm.
Kund,
Mm.
as they say, na? The
Yes.
fire was so huge. It was like the diameter and the circumference, whatever you call it, it
Mm.
was in miles actually.
Mm.
Here, how will you do it? It's not possible. We can't even light a small fire also these days.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and then when it came to the third Yuga, the Treta Yuga, it was worshipping the form of God, which is called Archa Vigraha, deity worship. Yes. So that was the way primarily dharma was practiced. But nowadays in Kali Yuga, the problem is that also you can't do properly, because
Mm.
people, because it is said when you are doing deity worship, your mental cleanliness is very much required. So it is said in some sampradayas, I know, that if you are worshipping a deity, and if you get a negative thought, a thought about lust or something like that, you are supposed to fast the whole day, so you are
Okay.
not supposed to eat that day.
Okay.
Okay, so these are very strict rules and ways in the earlier ages. But if you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is one shloka where it is said that the Sukdev Goswami tells to Parikshit Maharaj that Kaler dosha nidhe rajan asti hi ekan mahat guna kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha param rajit. It means Sukdev Goswami, the author of the Bhagavatam, is telling to Parikshit Maharaj that Kaler dosha nidhe rajan means there are unlimited faults in this Kali Yuga. Too many faults. Corruption, rape, abuse, so many problems are there. But he says, Asti hi ekan mahat guna, that there is one great quality. Mahat guna. Mahat guna means great quality is there. The people may be thinking, oh, but Kali Yuga was supposed to be bad, right?
Mm.
How
Mm.
is there
Mm.
some great quality in Kali Yuga? Everybody
Mm.
says Kali Yuga is terrible, Kali Yuga is the end of the world, right? But then he says, Kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha param vraja, that whatever results you would have got in the other ages by doing meditation or by doing deity worship or by doing fire sacrifices, that can be achieved in this age simply by doing kirtan. What is kirtan? Kirtan is basically glorifying God, yes, that we sing the prayers, yes. So mantras is the age of is the way for the deliverance in this age. So when we do the mantras properly, then whatever can be our karma, yes, that there is a count which has been made in somewhere in the universe, we may not know, but there's a database which has been maintained that we need to where our count is made, that oh, now this person has started chanting these mantras. And in fact, because this topic has come, I would like to say something very practical here. Recently there was one lady two weeks back who she contacted me, and then she said that oh, she's having difficulty in sleeping or some other problem was there. Then I just suggested her that you just chant this mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This mantra, just because this is the remedy for the fourth house. Yes, because sleep is basically what problem in the fourth house, right? And it is
mm,
linked to the
mm.
12th house. And
Yes.
12th house, and then 8th house shows how you get up. So if your heart is having some problem, which is fourth house, 12th house is having a problem, 8th house is having a problem. Yes.
Mm, mm,
So because 4, 8, 12 are the trines. So then what happened? She told me, I was amazed to know this, that she said she was not able to sleep from so many months and years, but suddenly from that very day itself, that day night itself, when she started chanting, she could sleep very peacefully. And not only that, she had a cat, okay, that pet who
mm,
always used to be very angry, very frustrated, very agitated,
mm,
yes.
mm, mm.
Whoever would come, the cat would go and attack, yes.
Okay.
But that cat also that cat also became very humble, very quiet. And the cat also, the behavior of the cat changed entirely. So this lady had sent me the message in WhatsApp, and I had put that as a testimonial also in my
Mm,
website for people
mm,
to see.
mm.
So now, another thing I have seen is it is very important that you also have certain combinations. As recently, James Baha sir came to my channel. So in
Yes.
that, he was
Yes.
telling if somebody has an afflicted ninth house, or in my experience, I have seen more than the ninth house, a bad Jupiter. Yes, it is very difficult that these people will get remedies, and even if they get, they will continue doing it. Oh, that's another question. So recently, I had done a consultation for a person who had Jupiter in Capricorn, which is the sign of debility. So then I was trying my best to help that person, give all the remedies, all the mantras, but that person was always skeptical. Oh, will this work? And I'm like, first you do it, man.
Mm,
Then we will see it works or not.
mm,
If you don't do only, then how do you claim this works or not? Okay. And now somebody will say oh, but for everybody it doesn't happen like that, yes, because there are many people who tell me, oh, after 6 months only this mantra started giving me results, okay, it didn't happen the next day. Well, the answer is very simple. As I was recording a video today morning, in that I was telling, we don't know how much sin we have performed. In Hindi, if I say na, हमने कितना
mm,
पाप
mm,
किया है हमें नहीं पता.
mm,
So if we expect that okay, we are chanting a mantra from today, and
mm,
then from tomorrow the results will come. So
mm.
that cannot happen, yes. So we need to be patient, and we have to adhere to the proper systems of the mantras, and then so many remedies are there, no? So then accordingly we will realize that there are some things which we cannot change, which means after we chant the mantras, we do the remedies, we can still be in difficulty, we can still be in trouble, and that's perfectly fine. Yes, that is something which is beyond our control, because Lord Krishna says that you do your karma, don't focus on the results, okay. So our duty is we do the remedies, we do whatever it takes, and we may maintain a good lifestyle. And then after that, whatever happens, you call that fate or destiny, let that happen. Because if we get too much into this jugglery of fate versus destiny and this free will, which many people go into unnecessarily, because if you read the scriptures, you would be surprised actually. Very less places there are these questions about is this destined or is this not destined. Yes, because in the scriptures the focus is on our duty. That is why the ninth house is different from the 10th house. People say oh,
Yes.
ninth house is dharma, 10th house is karma, but people actually don't know what's the difference. Yes, ninth house deals with dharma, but it is also the house of God. So that means God is the top priority, who should be there at the number one priority of the list, because dharma, the word dharma refers, it has many meanings, but the word dharma comes from dharyate, which means that uh, as in Sanskrit or Hindi they say na, jo dharan karta hai, which holds. Yes. So dharma is what, basically intrinsic quality. So the dharma of sugar is it is sweet. The dharma of milk is it is white. Yes.
Yes.
So the eternal constituent position of a living entity, as the Bhagavatam says, that is to worship God. So that is why dharma also comes in the ninth house. Dharma does not come in the seventh house. Then Parashara would have said, "Oh, seventh house is the house of dharma. That means you become a servant of your husband or wife." It doesn't happen like that. Parashara says dharma is in the ninth house. So that means whenever you bring dharma, it has to be pertaining to the ninth house. So if you read the Ramayana also, when Sita was taken away by Ravan, yes, Lord Ram did not say, "Oh, anyways, it's my destiny. I have Mars in seventh house. What can I do?" Yes, he has Mars. He has an exalted Mars in the seventh house. So he could have always said, "No, oh, anyways, that's my destiny. You see, can't do anything." But he didn't do like that. He went and he fought Ravan and he brought Sita back. So the important thing is, let's do what we are supposed to do as a duty, and then let us also do the remedies. And after that, whatever happens, let us take it as a blessing of the gods, as the universe, because sometimes what happens, there are certain things which we need to go through to learn some lessons. Yes, because without learning those lessons, we will still go and harm other people. So it is important sometimes that even after doing remedies, things may not work out for us. So then we should take it as a good sign from the universe that we need to learn those lessons. Yes. And if God wills, then maybe without learning those lessons also, the karma can be washed off. But that can happen. Remedies have the power to alter things, and that is very true. Otherwise, nobody would speak about remedies. So that is all I have to say for this question.
So fantastic. That's an excellent explanation. So what you're essentially saying is there is fate and there is free will. Use your free will to do the right things. Okay,
Yes.
do your duty. But fate is what will decide the outcome of your actions. You have to perform your actions, but you cannot control the outcome. So you have to do what you
Yes.
have to do. That's excellent. One of my teachers, Babaji, taught me that if Jupiter is either Jupiter or the ninth lord is placed in the lagna, you don't need to pray or you don't need any remedies. Then he said, if either Jupiter or the ninth lord aspects the lagna, then if you do the remedies, it will work.
Oh.
And he said, if neither Jupiter nor the ninth lord is either in the lagna or aspecting the lagna, no matter what remedies you do, it won't work.
Okay.
So, that is what he taught. And he also taught me you cannot drink a glass of water unless it is fated. So
Yes.
anyway, that's a different school of thought. But
Yes.
that is what I learned in KP astrology, that unless the planets allow you, or unless your fate allows you to do something, it is very difficult to do it. But I completely agree with your explanation that there is fate, there is free will, both exist in the same plane, and you've got to do what you've got to do. The outcome is
Yes.
not within your control.
Yes. Yeah, that is very important, because even in the Mahabharata, were sent to exile for 14 years, but
Yes.
they did not say there that, oh, anyways, anyways, that's our destiny. Yes,
Mm,
Yudhishthir Maharaj could have said that, but he didn't say like that. Yudhishthir Maharaj always focused on, oh, what is my duty? And in fact, there is a place in the Mahabharata where the Pandavas, I mean, the other four brothers, they go to Yudhishthir and say that, oh, in the scriptures, there's a possibility in the scriptures. They say that sometimes 13 years or 12 years can be considered, I mean, 12 days can be considered as 12 years. Okay.
mm,
So now it is 12, 13 days of our vanvas which has started. So now let us go and kill the Kauravas. Then Yudhishthir said, no, you cannot twist the principles of the scriptures just for your own personal sake. I will not do that. If you want to go, you fight, but I will not be fighting with you. Yes, I mean, I will not go along with you when you fight. So Yudhishthir Maharaj is the perfect example. Do what you are supposed to do, and then let Krishna take care the rest. And that's what happened. Ultimately, the Pandavas were victorious. So that's the biggest lesson of the Mahabharata. And it is not that they did not suffer casualties. Abhimanyu was killed. Yes, that was such a big casualty, but ultimately they were victorious. So that's the important thing.
So, Babaji, if somebody has to consult you,
Yeah.
how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, I have my website, Vedic Renaissance. So, but it's still in weeks. So maybe you can paste the link below in the
Okay,
description. So
that I'll
then
do.
you
Okay,
can go. Yes.
okay. So they can get to you via your website.
Yes, yes, yes. You can directly click and you will see the services page. Whichever is comfortable for you, you can approach me like that.
I see from your site that it's not just predictive consultations you do, but you also do some kind of counseling. Is that right?
Yes, yes. So basically, when I do the full consultation, which is for 1 hour, for example, so then I am not like some other astrologer who will say, "Oh, your Lagna is in Scorpio. This will happen. That will happen." No, that is the last thing I will see.
Hmm.
The first thing I will see is, oh, what's the situation of the person? Is he able to get up in the morning properly? Is he eating
Hmm.
properly? Yes.
Hmm.
Is the person able to sleep properly? Because what is the use of suggesting remedies to a person if
Remedy
the
at
person
5
is
a.m.
not
if he's
sleeping,
not
the
able to
person
get up at 5 a.m. That's right. That's right.
so then that doesn't make much sense. Although then what happens is you can become a person who will become very rich. Yes, because then the person will keep coming to you again and again. So I
Correct.
don't want that. I want that if somebody has come to me once, then he or she should never ever have the need to go to somebody else. Now some problem is there, then you come, that's separate. But for the same problem, I feel that the person should not feel the need to go to somebody else. And if the person does that, then I will feel that I have failed as a counselor or as a guide.
Fantastic. Now, Babajit, I have more questions. And
Yeah.
my second question to you
Yes.
is on planetary debilitation. Now,
Yes.
can you tell us, people are scared about planets being debilitated in their horoscope. Okay. But
Yes.
there are others who say, debilitation is not bad at all. It just
Mhm.
makes you work harder in those areas, and probably if you work harder in those areas, you will be also successful in the area where the planet is debilitated. Now, can you tell me what is uh, what is the result of debilitation, and how do you handle a planet if it is debilitated in a horoscope? How do you behave if a planet is debilitated? What should you do?
Yeah. So, first of all, when you talk of debilitation, it is very important that we segregate the sign of debilitation from the house that it represents in the original zodiac.
Okay.
For example, suppose you say Jupiter is debilitated. Where
Yes.
is Jupiter debilitated? In Capricorn.
Correct.
That is okay, but you should not say Jupiter is bad in the 10th house. Jupiter in the 10th is fabulous. So first of all, when you go to debilitation, because debilitation is about signs, right? It is not about the houses. So
Correct.
we have to learn to differentiate the houses from the signs. So let me give you an example, another example. Venus gets exalted in Pisces. Okay.
Correct. Mm.
But that doesn't mean Venus is good in the 12th house. Yes.
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
there can be other things which make the Venus good. The seventh house can be good or whatever. But you should not, nobody should say that, oh, Venus is in the 12th house where it originally gets exalted. No, it doesn't get exalted there. It gets
Mm.
directional strength in the fourth house. Yes.
Mm. Mm.
So what's the problem basically? Debilitation, as the word says, nicha. Yes.
Yes.
Nicha means it is like a person who is suppressed,
Yes.
compressed.
Yes.
Which means, in a sense, we have not got the right training to deal with that area. Yes, or we have evaded those areas.
Okay.
For example, let me say with examples here. Suppose Jupiter is debilitated in Capricorn.
Yes.
Now, why does it get debilitated in Capricorn? There are videos in YouTube which will say, oh, it is a sign of Shani, that is why it gets debilitated. Shani is the Shudra.
Mm.
Well, that is okay, but Capricorn has a lot of positive things also.
Mm.
Yes, but why does it get debilitated?
mm,
What is that one problem in
mm,
Capricorn which
mm,
completely throws away Jupiter out?
mm, mm,
What is that problem?
mm.
The problem is Capricorn doesn't have emotions.
Okay.
Capricorn is more of a lifeless sign, and that is why Mars gets exalted there, because when a soldier wants to do something, he cannot think of, oh, who is my mother, who is my father, because
Mm.
if he keeps thinking of all those, then that's it, he will not be able to fight. So which means that when Jupiter is in Capricorn, we see Jupiter in Capricorn can mean many things, but what I'm saying here is, in essence, it can mean that when we are doing spiritual practices, we are doing it just like a routine formality without any involvement of our heart, because it gets exalted in Cancer.
Yes.
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 And Cancer is what basically?
The
Cancer is
heart,
nothing but, yes, it's the
the
heart,
emotion.
it's the sign of the heart. Yes, emotions. The most important thing of Cancer is it is the sign of emotions. Yes. And fourth house has components like luxury and all this. So Jupiter in the fourth can have a different flavor than Jupiter in Cancer. Yes. Now, that means suppose somebody has Jupiter in Capricorn, then you say that's debilitated. Whatever you say, 0 to 3 degrees or 5
Mm,
degrees,
mm,
irrespective of
mm,
that, the
mm,
flavor of Jupiter's debility will be there.
mm,
Which means that if you have that, then you don't have to panic. You simply, now from today, you make a decision that whenever you do some spiritual practice, you don't do it as an official practice, which means, oh, I have to chant these mantras, now I will just sit and chant Om Namah
mm,
Shivaya,
mm,
that's it. No,
mm,
you try to, and that will be a bit difficult for you because it is debilitated, which
mm,
means you have not been doing it from
mm,
millions of
mm,
lifetimes, so
mm,
it will be naturally difficult for you. But
mm.
from today you make a decision that I will try to improve and bring the traits of exaltation into that planet. Yes. So for example, what Venus is, Venus gets debilitated in Virgo. What is Virgo basically? If you see, there's something very interesting. If you make Virgo the ascendant, yes, then the Lagna Lord, Virgo is the only Lagna where the Lagna Lord will get exalted in the own sign, own house. Yes, that means the problem or the trait with Virgo is that they are too much self-obsessed.
Okay.
Yes, and Venus is the planet which is least comfortable in that area. Imagine going into a relationship with a partner, or imagine you behaving like
Mm,
that.
mm,
Oh,
mm,
I will only think of myself. I
mm,
don't
mm,
care what you want.
mm,
Then how is the relationship? Yes.
mm, mm,
And the other sign is Pisces, which shows that, okay, whatever I am, I will. Pisces is a very all-encompassing sign. Yes. So if somebody has Venus in Virgo, whatever happens to you, that is fate, destiny, remedies, that we already spoke. But from today you make a decision that I will not behave like that with my wife or with the members of the opposite sex. Yes, I will try to give them space. I will not behave as if I am the only one who is supposed to get things in a relationship. Yes, because relationship is basically what, giving, taking. That thing has to be there, so we have to understand that. So these are the things we can do. Basically, the first thing we have to do when a planet is debilitated is, we don't have to panic. We have to simply understand that we have not channelized the energies properly, and from today we make a decision that we will try to go in the other side. So when we change the attitude, half of the problems are already solved. So, and we learn about the exaltation signs, yes, and then we try to involve and bring those traits of the exaltation sign into that planet, whichever planet that is debilitated or whatever you call it, weak or whatever it is. So then what happens is, even though we may face challenges, but in the next lifetimes, yes, or you may say within the later phases of this life itself, we will see that we have had a lot of improvements in that area. Yes.
okay.
So that's the thing, we need to see what's the trait of the exaltation sign, and we need to bring those traits into our life pertaining to that planet. So for
Okay.
example, if Jupiter is in Capricorn, well, just going to the temple will not help. Yes, you have to go to the temple and you have to try to connect to God like a person, because
Mm,
emotions you don't have towards your mobile phone, right? Emotions are towards only a person. Now you may like the mobile phone, that's a different thing, but when you say I have emotions, that means that you have emotions towards a person. So you have to always understand, first of all, that God is a person, so you cannot just go on demanding things from God, as like, okay, and I will do this Ganesh puja, Ganesh ji will give me this, Shiva will give me that. So it can't happen that way. So we have to emotionally try to connect. We have to read the scriptures, the stories. Yes, by that we will understand what Lord Ram did. He was also a person like you and me, although he's supreme personality of Godhead himself. But then we will realize, because cancer is what basically is the sign of the mother. So how does the mother behave with the child? Yes, the mother is totally selfless. Yes,
Correct.
the mother doesn't think, oh, night 3 o'clock na, if the child is giving a kick to her face, the mother doesn't think, oh, see, this child is so bad, he or she is kicking me. No, the mother is always ready, the mother is ever ready, and the mother is very happy to do spiritual, I mean, to take care of the child. So that's the situation Jupiter likes very much. Yes, and that is why the guru is the highest well-wishing friend, as they say, na, because guru is in line with God. So guru is the highest well-wisher. So another remedy we could do is we could serve our guru properly, or first of all we should accept somebody as the guru, and then we should render personal service. By that we can develop a connection. So these are things we can do. And for Mercury, it's the opposite. Mercury doesn't like those things like Pisces. Oh, just do whatever you want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if Mercury is in Pisces, it does not mean that you don't have intelligence. I don't know from where this has come. But because for intelligence, you have to see other things. You have to see what's the situation of the fifth house. Yes, you have to see so many things. So when Mercury is in Pisces, we need to make sure that we maintain a reality check on our finances, especially. And we take, and whichever planet is debilitated, we can always seek higher guidance regarding that planet. Okay, so suppose Mercury is debilitated. Whenever you are making some financial decision, take others into consideration. Others means don't go on asking 10 people, then again you will get confused. But one or two people, or at least one person should be there who you trust in financial matters. And when you are doing something, take advice from them. Or when you are submitting some document, then maybe you can ask them to cross check, or whatever is comfortable for you, you can do accordingly. But you can always seek higher guidance, because when you seek higher guidance, anything is possible. And then for Mars, I already said, we should not be thinking, oh, who is my mother, who is my father. When we are taking Mars into consideration, it gets exalted in Capricorn, which means we do our duty diligently, either we like it or we don't. So that is
Sun,
what
sun,
I would say about
sun,
debilitation.
sun.
Sun, yeah. So what happens with Sun? Sun gets debilitated in Libra, right?
Correct.
See, this is a very funny thing. Now, Sun also sets in the seventh house. But
Yes.
why does it get debilitated there? Because Libra is the sign where we are losing our sexuality. Yes. So anytime you will see a man or a woman who is too much indulging in sexuality, that person is totally headless. That person has no goal in life. Now that can be less or more depending on other things. But
Hmm.
when Sun is in Libra, we have to understand that a significant part of our life we had spent in enjoying and delighting with the opposite sex in our past lives. Yes. So because of that, what happens is we are used to getting validation from the opposite sex. Yes. Basically what Sun is, Sun says, I am there, whoever is there, I don't care. Yes,
Yes.
I will come on time. Moon is there, Saturn is there, I don't care. I will come up when I want. But what Libra is? Libra is other people. So when you indulge too much with the opposite sex, then what happens? You are used to their validation. Yes, oh, you are doing good, she's nice, you are good. So when you get used to doing things only when others validate you, then your situation is precarious, because then you will feel, oh, I can't do anything myself. And that's what happens when Sun is in Libra. Yes. So now the remedy for these people is very simple, that you try to you don't seek validation too much from others. If you don't get obsessed with all these selfies na, Instagram and so many other things are there na. So try to do meditation. Yes, because if you see that Sun gets exalted where? It gets exalted in Aries. And this is also something important which we have to see, that if you make Leo as the ascendant, yes, then if you take the Mool Trikon sign, then Sun gets exalted where? From the ninth house, because for Leo ascendants, Aries is the ninth house. So that means if somebody has a Sun which is debilitated in Libra, then if they do spiritual activities, then naturally things improve. Yes. And similarly is for the moon. Yes. So moon gets debilitated in Scorpio. What is Scorpio basically? Scorpio is nothing but fear. Yes.
Yes.
So when fear enters your mind, that's it. Total destruction. And if you want to know about moon and Venus, you have to go to Ramayana. Without that, you can't understand moon Venus. So what happens is, I will just say in short, this Kaikai story is there. Yes,
Yes.
Kaikai was said by mantra that, oh, what Kaikai did basically, she said, Ram will be the king now, and then you will become maid servant of Ram's mother, Kaushalya. Yes.
Hmm.
That means what did she do? Mantra just did two things. She invested fear into the mind of Kekai, and the
Yes.
second thing she did is she said, why Ram? Why not
Hmm.
your son?
Hmm.
And what is that? That is expectation. So expectation is which sign? Virgo. And fear
Yes.
is which sign? Scorpio. So the Ramayana is explaining why why moon gets debilitated in
Oh,
Scorpio, and Venus, why does it get debilitated in Virgo? Yes. So that means if you want to destroy a woman, just do two things. You don't have to do much. You just give some fear to her mind. She will automatically be destroyed because she will lose the peace of mind. Or if you want to destroy Venus, then put expectation. Yes. So you go and tell Keke, oh, your son should be the king. Why
fantastic.
Ram? So
Fantastic.
that is what the Ramayana says, that when these two things are there, a woman is completely miserable. And look what happened to Keke later. Yes, she said, I disown you as my mother. You go to hell, you die, you live. I don't care. Yes, because Bharat never wanted that this happens with him. Yes, he always wanted that Ram be the king. So we should be very careful when we hear advice of people, because there can be so many people giving advice, but make sure that that's not for the month. That's what happens. So if moon is in Scorpio, we need to make sure that we do not associate with people who give us unnecessary fears. Yes, because sometimes people come and say, "Arey, ye hoga, wo hoga, this happens, that happens." Then that will further put us in trouble. So we need to make sure that we maintain a peace of mind. What is Taurus basically? Taurus is stability, nothing more than that. So we need to make sure that whenever we are doing some action, we are present, because Taurus is what? Taurus represents the senses, right?
Correct.
Taurus represents the senses. So it represents the eyes, ears, all those things. So it means that whenever you are doing something, try to be in the present always. Don't try to do multi-processing. Oh, I am doing mantras also, I am using Facebook also. Doesn't work like that. So we need to make sure that when we are doing something, we are totally into it. Past and future. Yes, keep expecting this will come, that will come. And Gita says that there are two things which are detrimental for a yogi. What is that? One is hankering, the other is lamentation. Yes,
Oh, okay.
these two are very dangerous. Hankering is what basically, I want. Oh, that girl is very beautiful, I want her. Oh, that boy is very handsome, I want that boy. Yes. And lamenting is what basically, oh, I lost him, I lost her. So this Scorpio and Virgo, these two traits are very detrimental for our happiness, because these two destroys Moon and Venus. So we need to take care that we do not get too much into past or future zone. We need to stay in the zone for present. And Lord Krishna says in the Gita, Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma na sochati na kankshati. One who does not do sochna and akanksha. Sochna and akanksha means future or past. That person is prasanta. He's very calm. He's very peaceful. So that's the remedy for moon or Venus, whatever is debilitated. Yes. So this is how you see debilitation. It is not that it is bad and you can't do anything. That's totally false.
You know, Babajit, one of my teachers told me
Okay.
that a planet is exalted or debilitated when it is at the exact point of debilitation, that is paramucha or paramnicha, or
Okay.
1 degree after the exact point of debilitation or exaltation, or 1 degree before. So 1 degree before at the exact point and 1 degree after. If it is 2 degrees before and 2 degrees after, he said there is no exaltation, there is no debilitation. And he actually taught me a method, a physical method to check. Now,
Oh,
suppose, suppose your sun or whichever other planet or somebody's planet, let us say moon is debilitated in the 11th house, let us say as an example.
yeah.
Then you
Okay.
need to check the leg of the person. Is there a defect in the limb? Is there a defect in the leg? If there is no deformity or
Oh,
defect in the leg, then your planet, no matter if it is placed 2 3 degrees here and there is no debilitation or there is no problem with that planet.
okay.
Because
Because 11th house is the leg. That's why
yeah,
you are saying.
yeah. So similarly, if
Oh,
a planet is placed in the fourth house, is there a debilitated in the fourth house? Is there a problem in the chest area? Is there a problem in the heart?
oh.
If there is nothing, then there is no debilitation. The planet is not acting debilitated. So that's a physical technique to check, which I learned. But Babaji, today you've really, talked very significantly about how to deal with the debilitation. You're saying that don't worry if a planet is debilitated. Your own behavior should be like the exaltation of that planet. How you would
Yes.
have behaved if the planet were exalted. Behave like that, and your planet will also probably improve over a period of time.
Yeah. And here, one last thing I would like to say. Many people will say, oh, my Venus is here, it's in Libra, or it is here. That means my spouse is like that. I don't
Yes.
think that is true.
Hmm.
Because if you take that every planet represents the Karaka in a literal sense,
Hmm.
then everybody should have their planets in Aries,
Hmm.
because then everybody will have a sun, everybody's
Correct.
sun will get exalted there. So that
Correct.
means Aries should have been the exaltation for every sign. No,
Correct.
but that's not the case.
Correct.
Which means that when you say that Venus is exalted in Pisces, it necessarily doesn't mean that your wife or your husband will be like that. It
Hmm.
means that you and the behavioral dynamics are like that. Yes. So, and then when you are good, you will also attract a person who is like that. So that is what I say. And that doesn't mean that if Venus is in Pisces, that your wife will not have any traits of Pisces. That will not happen, because if you have, then your wife also has to have that trait. Then only you will get attracted to each other. Otherwise, it will not happen.
Babajit, I'm going to change the order of the questions, which
Yeah.
I have written down in my notebook. You have a video called "Secret of Ascendance," and
Okay.
all those who have not watched this video called "Secret of Ascendance" on exotic astrology, you must go and watch this video on "Secret of Ascendance," because that tells you how you must behave if you are of a particular ascendant. I think it's a very important video which everyone must watch. And now, Babajit, I would like you to, give a kind of a gist of this whole, the placement of an ascendant. If you can tell us about this in a nutshell.
Yeah, so if I would summarize whatever I said in that video and whatever
Yes.
I am planning to speak in the future regarding
Huh.
every ascendant, I would say
Yes.
ascendant defines who you are. That's your physical existence. Yes. So that means that first house will tell what will happen to the other houses.
Hmm.
So that house is very important. So because that house will decide the nature of the other houses. So for example, if you have Capricorn in the seventh house, for example, which means you are a Cancer ascendant, then it can happen wherever Capricorn is falling, there is some amount of dryness in that. Yes, suppose there is Capricorn in your ninth house, depending on your ascendant, then it can happen that there is some amount of dryness in the ninth house. So that house which is there in your first house, that is very important, because that will tell you which are the areas you should focus if you feel headless, goalless, directionless in life. Which means, suppose if you are a Aries ascendant, yes, so then Mars becomes your ascendant lord. That
Correct.
means your life situations will demand you, irrespective of whatever it is,
Hmm.
it will demand that you behave like a Capricorn. Why? Because Mars gets exalted in Capricorn.
Oh.
Yes. So that means whatever happens in life, you cannot leave that trait of Mars in Capricorn, because then your goal, your goal is proper.
Hmm.
Then you are channelized properly, because the ascendant is you. I mean,
Hmm.
ascendant is the first house and ascendant lord is you. So where do you function best?
Hmm.
And that you do in the 10th house, not that you do good in the 10th house, but for Aries the sign in the 10th house is Capricorn, where Mars gets exalted. Yes. So for you, whenever you focus on doing karmas in life. Yes, whenever you become action oriented. For Capricorn ascendants also it is the same, because Saturn again gets exalted in the 10th house in Libra. So for these two ascendants, it is very important that they don't focus too much on what is like, oh, higher power or something. So suppose you are a monk now. Yes, suppose. Then you are either a Aries ascendant or you are a Capricorn ascendant. Now this does not mean that you don't have faith in God. It
Hmm.
simply means that your behavior should be whatever God will give me, that is okay, but whatever I am supposed to do, I will always do that. Yes, I will never leave my duty, because 10th house is what basically is duty, right? Our
Correct.
karmas.
Correct.
So we should have that flavor that we don't we never go out of that, the 10th house. So similarly, if suppose whichever ascendant you are, suppose you are a Libra ascendant, then Venus will get and the Libra means what, your life situations will demand you that you cannot take one side sometimes, because Libra, you will always have to try to balance. Yes, so even if your fourth house has Capricorn and your seventh house is Aries, it can happen sometimes. When you go home, you are balancing your wife and your
Hmm.
mother.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
can
Hmm.
happen.
Hmm.
Yes. And Cancer is in your 10th house. So that dynamics can come. So whichever ascendant you are, suppose you are a Leo ascendant, then you have to make sure that you always behave like the sun. Yes. Wherever it is, wherever you go, because wherever you go, ultimately who is going? The ascendant Lord is going, right? When you are going to marry, who is marrying? The ascendant Lord, actually. So when you are going to buy property, who is going? You means the ascendant Lord. So wherever you are going, you need to make sure you are very responsible, you are always on time, you have to be, you have to have the traits like the sun. So one very simple thing about the ascendants is we can read the stories of the Vishnu avatars, which are pertaining to every planet. Yes, so if somebody wants to know how should a Leo ascendant behave, yes, then the answer is very simple. You should behave like whom? Like Lord Ram. That's very simple. Yes, which means that you should always be responsible, you should always be duty bound, you should always think of giving light to others, because what does the sun do? The sun will give light to others, right? And similarly, for if you take Cancer ascendant, Cancer is what? It is ruled by the moon. So then Lord Krishna comes into account. Yes, what Lord Krishna's one of the most important things which he had done is giving happiness to others, giving pleasure to others. Yes, in fact, if you read the Bhagavatam, you will find that Lord Krishna, when he was in Vrindavan, when the monkeys were there, yes, who used to play with him, he felt that, oh, these monkeys, they had done so much service when I came as Lord Ram. Yes, because they had helped me to cross this Lanka and then go and fight Ravan, bring Sita back. So these monkeys had done so much for me. I could not reciprocate with them that time. Yes, so then Lord Krishna, he started feeding butter to these monkeys. Even though that was not supposed to be done, because that
Hmm.
butter which was made
Hmm.
was made from pushpagandha, those specific cows Yashoda Mai would have. Yes,
Hmm.
and those, that milk was so fragrant, it used to have the smell of rose naturally. You don't have to add anything. And with that milk, some specific cows were there, and there were millions of cows in Vietnam. And with that, some specifics used to make milk, and then with that you make butter. But Lord Krishna, because he felt very bad that, oh, when I was as Ram, I could not give anything to the monkeys. Yes, because I couldn't give them much. But in this avatar, I will make sure I give them butter at least. So Lord Krishna's one of the primary thing is that he always wanted to give happiness to others. So if you want to know what every ascendant should be doing, is we should always see the life story of the avatars. Yes, so for
So who's
Jupiterian ascendant,
for Jupiter? Who's the avatar?
Jupiter is Vamandev. So Vamandev, what happened? Vamandev said that he said to Bali Maharaj, just give me three
Yeah, three
steps. Yeah.
steps.
Yeah. So what does that mean? It can happen that if you are an ascendant of Sagittarius or Pisces, it can happen that sometimes life can demand some sacrifice from you. Yes. But the most important thing to understand is that what happened to Bali Maharaj after that? Bali Maharaj, see what's there in the Vamandev pastime. Actually, Bali Maharaj was wanting to rule the heavens, yes, and he was doing the yagyas. And if that last yagya would be successful, he would become the next Indra, yes.
Correct.
And Vishnu did not want that, because then demons would become very powerful. But
Correct.
if you go to the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 12 Mahajans. I also have a video. If you have not watched that, you can watch that
No,
also.
I've
12
not.
Mahajans.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, 12 Mahajans.
Okay.
So in that there are name of 12 specific personalities, 12 Mahajans who are great authorities in scriptural knowledge and ideal behavior and spiritual perfection. They are all perfected beings. So in that, one of them is Prahlad and the other is Bali Maharaj. So Prahlad is the grandfather of Bali Maharaj, yes, for whom Lord Narsingadev came and he ripped apart
Hmm.
Hiranyakashipu.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And
Correct.
now this Bali is the grandson. That means he's supposed to be great like Prahlad. And he was great because he is also one of the 12 Mahajans. Even though he was fighting, yes, but internally he always had that consciousness that, oh, I am Vishnu's eternal servant. And then what happened? He wanted the heavens, but then when he lost everything, Vishnu said that, okay, now I have taken the with 1 feet I have marked till the Viraja river, till Satyaloka, so
Hmm.
that is gone. And with 1 feet I have mapped the earth, that
Yes.
is also gone.
Correct.
So now you are a liar. You said you will give me 3 steps, but
Yes.
you gave me only 2.
Hmm.
And then Bali said, no, the third step is there, that is
Correct. Head.
my head is there. So
Yes.
please put the third step over my head. And then then Mamande was so happy. Yes. And then what happened? People know till here, but people don't know what happened later. Then later what happened? If you read Bhagavatam, it is said that Bali Maharaj became the ruler of Sutala.
Yeah.
Sutala is the underwater
Well,
heavenly planet.
yes.
Yes. It has they are known as Bila Swargas. Bila Swarga means those which are below the earthly, the Bhuloka. The Bhuloka is the seventh planetary system. Above this there are 6, and below there are again 7. So Sutala is below the planetary realm of Bhuloka, which is more and millions of times more opulent than the heavens where Indra resides. So what is the lesson in this? The lesson is that whenever your guru asks you to sacrifice something, the end result is millions of times more. So you never lose anything by giving things to your guru or to God specially. Yes, you will gain multi-million times more, trillions and billions of times more. And that's not it. Later on, what happened? Vamandev said, I will personally become your doorkeeper. Yes. And then he was going to Sutal and he was guarding that place so that no other demon could attack. And even demigods can't do anything because Vishnu is simply standing there. So when you give something to God, God gives himself to you. Should I repeat? When you give something to God, God will give himself to you. And this is very true in Lord Krishna's case also. Lord Krishna, once there was a fruit seller who came. That fruit seller saw that Krishna is so beautiful, so mesmerizing. And then this fruit seller was giving the fruits to Krishna, but she was not counting because she was lost in his beautiful form.
Hmm.
And then when Lord Krishna asked, what do you want in return? How much money do you want? Then this lady said, I don't want anything. I have seen you, that's it. And then this lady goes back to her home. And when she goes back to her home, what she sees? The basket which she brought fruits, which is now empty because she gave everything to Krishna and she did not take anything, was filled with gold, lapis lazuli, diamonds, emeralds, rubies, so many things, my God. So she could have got some pennies from somebody, but now she became a millionaire. So the lesson is, whenever God or your guru asks you to sacrifice something, that is for your good, and the end result is like you can't imagine. So that's what Vamandev displays. And for Saturn, Kurma is the avatar. So it means that you have to be very much duty focused, very much duty bound. You have to learn to have patience, because Kurma Who was Kurma basically? Kurma was the tortoise
Tortoise.
above whom that Samudra Manthan was going on. Yes, that mountain was the tortoise was having the responsibility for that stability. Yes,
It was the
so
base for the mountain, which was being,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. So that means if you are a ruler of ascendant, which is like Saturn, for example, then you have to be very careful that we have to understand that life will demand patience from us. Yes, life will demand things that need us to be tolerant. We have to be humble. Humility is very important. Yes, and Saturn plays a very important role here. And the last thing I would say is about this Digbala of Saturn here. This is linked actually.
Okay.
So now, which house does Saturn gets directional strength? We all know it's the seventh house. Yes, but the funny thing is, seventh house is the house of desire, sex, and romance, and all this marriage. What is the planet of old age doing there? Has somebody thought about this? Saturn is all about old age, suffering, tears.
Hmm.
Why does it get directional strength there? Because if you see, seventh house is the only house which is surrounded by two dusthanas. Yes, there's no other house where either side there is dusthanas. Yes, which means seventh house is a house where you once enter, either you go back there is problem, or you go ahead there is problem. If you go ahead, you see the eighth house. So now what's that? Seventh house is marriage. Suppose you take marriage. Then if you go back, which means you have some fights, then you get divorced. Then that's a problem. Suppose you don't get divorced, you have a very happy married life. Then what happens? Oh, you go to the eighth house. Eighth house is what? Eighth house is the house of attachment, asakti. Then what happens? Oh, you can't stay without that person, right? You get attached so much. So that is why Saturn is very happy in the seventh house. Because Saturn's duty is to give you tears and suffering by the lessons. Yes. So when Saturn is in the seventh house, it can happen that people have too many desires, because then Saturn can make you cry as much as he wants to give you the lessons, of course, that you should not have so much desires. And Ramayana also explains this. Like many people will run after beauty, like, oh, my girl should be very beautiful, my husband should be very beautiful. The Ramayana has a hidden lesson in that, which people don't know, that we should not run too much after beauty, because the problem was Sita was too beautiful and Ram was too handsome. The problem started with Lord Ram. It was not Sita. The problem did not start with Ravan. The problem started when Surpnakha got attracted to Ram. Why? Because he was too handsome.
Hmm.
And in scriptures also it is said that Rupvati Bharya Satru, which means that if your spouse is too beautiful, it will cause you troubles, because all other members of the opposite sex will have an eye on them, and your whole life will go in fighting and quarreling. So we need to understand that we do not get too much obsessed with uh, things of this material world, which will anyways fade away after some time.
So, Babajit, if you have Mars as the ascendant, then which is the avatar of Vishnu?
What?
If you have Mars, see,
Yeah,
Sun, you said
yeah.
Ram, Mars, for Mars.
For Mars, it is Lord Nursing Dev, I guess. So what Nursing Dev did? Nursing Dev, Nursing Dev is not an ordinary incarnation like Ram or Krishna or something like that. Because Nursing Dev was specifically because this demon Hiranyakashyap, he had asked so many boons from Brahma that, oh, I want that this I will not be killed inside,
Yeah.
outside. I will not be killed with a weapon or with any astra, shastra. Yes, I will not be killed by this fellow asked Brahma that I will not be killed by anybody who is created out of you. My
That's right.
God, that's like almost immortality only. And then Nursing Dev appeared to protect Prahlad Maharaj. Yes, because he was that 5-year-old boy, and Prahlad is also one of the 12 Mahajans.
Correct.
So for Martian ascendants, it is very important that they always keep hearing the story of Nursing Dev, and they also should try to give protection to others, because what does a soldier do? Soldier
Hmm.
always gives protection.
Hmm.
Now it doesn't mean that, oh, your ascendant is Mars, then you have to behave like nursing them. Whoever is there, you go and rip them apart. It's not like that. But you have to understand the basic principle of the story, that you can you need to understand what those stories are, and then according. But anyways, I'll be making video on the avatars next week. So uh
Venus, Venus, Venus. Who's the deity?
Venus is Parshuram, I guess.
Parshuram. And Mercury.
Mercury, I'm not able to recall who is it, but I'll make the video anyway, so then maybe you can have a look at that. So these are the avatars, and they are also linked to the ascendants. Yes, so
Yes,
and that is very important, that we learn the stories and the avatars. Yes, and for Mercury it is Buddha, I guess,
Buddha.
if I am right in my limited fund of intelligence. So what does Buddha signify? Buddha signified enlightenment. Yes, so that's how we should behave when we are having prominent planets in mercurial signs. We should be very calm, and when we take decisions, we have to be calm and composed, because we cannot behave hastily. Otherwise things will get very difficult for us, because people make blunders when they do some decisions sometimes. So we need to be very careful that we do our meditation properly. If we are a mercurial ascendant, that is very important for them.
So, Babajit, my next question is something that you don't have to answer. The question is that, do you have a prominent planet in Hasta Nakshatra? You don't have to answer that.
Oh, Hasta, no, I don't.
You don't? Okay.
I wish I had.
Okay. So, Babajit, moving on, you see,
Yes.
my problem with astrology is, if I look at a chart of a future Mahatma Gandhi, of a future Einstein, of a future Nobel Prize winner, it is very difficult to say that this person will be the Prime Minister, President, Nobel Prize winner, or a person of very high achievements.
Yes.
So what is that, that you can use to identify a very, of course, all charts are high caliber. You see, everyone has achievements in some area or the other.
Yes.
So that is always there. But some people not only have the caliber and the talent, but they also kind of achieve a very high status in life. And they are able to make decisions which actually changes the world. So what
Yes.
is that can be used to identify such charts? What kind of placements do you look for?
Yeah, so this question actually can have different answers, and the answers will vary as per the experience of the astrologer.
Mhm.
And there are no specific rules in the classics which says that, I mean, there are yogas, Raj yogas and Mahapurush yogas, and there all those yogas are there, but there are no specific dictums or injunctions which says that, oh, this will make the person very renowned. And even if there are dictums, the million people will have those yogas, because there are so many
Yeah,
people.
yeah, correct.
Yes, but in this presentation I would share the screen now, and yeah, so I have saved some charts here.
Okay.
uh, are you able to see this?
Yes, it's clear.
Yeah, so I would show you certain examples
Okay.
in which I will show that uh, if there are too many planets in the Kendra houses, then things can get bit creepy.
Okay.
Okay. So which means that see, basically success is what? You cannot be successful in cricket and Bollywood. That's not possible.
Hmm.
Success has to be something very focused. Now,
Correct.
Sachin Tendulkar can also be a great cook. I'm not saying he cannot be,
Correct.
but you cannot be known in 10 things, right? One or
Correct.
two is fine, but
Correct.
it can't happen. So when you say somebody is extraordinarily successful, it means that that person has energy which is flowing very harmoniously in one direction. Yes.
Yes.
So I will be trying to show that here, and there will be many pros and cons which I will ignore, but I will be sharing this from my personal experience, which I have seen in other charts also. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the chart of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, if you can see.
The chart itself is not yet open.
Okay, but
I think
it's
you have to
sharing.
the screen is shared, but the chart is not open yet. I can't see the chart. I can see this.
The screen sharing has stopped as the window was closed. Just a minute. Okay, so
Yeah,
are you able to see now?
yeah. Now I can. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the chart of Atal Bihari Vajpayee,
Okay.
ex-Prime Minister of India, one of my favorite politicians.
Okay.
So here, if you see, Saturn is in exaltation here.
Yes.
Yes, it's in Libra, and it is giving the Sasha Mahapurush Yoga also because it is in
Correct.
Kendra.
Correct.
Now here you will see Saturn.
One minute, Bhavajit.
Yeah.
Mahapurush yogas are seen only from the Lagna or from the moon or both. How does it work?
No, it has to be seen from Lagna because that shows physical existence, and
Okay.
Lagna shows what you are doing
Okay.
in the physical world.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So here, now if you have it from moon, that can give you strength the otherwise, but it has to be there in the Lagna. This is what my
Okay.
experience is.
Okay.
So here, if you see that there is one planet which is very strong here.
Yes.
Yes. And not only that, I will show you PVR Narasimha Rao's chart, the ex-Prime Minister of
Yes.
India.
Yes.
So there I will beautifully explain to you. But here I am just starting it here. So I will
Okay.
just show you here. So Saturn is here in exaltation.
Hmm.
Yes. And it is in Kendra. So it is like dominating the whole chart.
Okay.
And there is no energy which will oppose Saturn here. That
Hmm.
is very important.
Hmm.
You see Mars is out of the Kendra.
Hmm.
Whatever you take, I mean, see how it is dominating this chart.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
he had such humble beginnings from where he came into power. So this is one very strong thing I have seen. Now you see PVR Narasimha Rao's chart. There you will understand things much better. I'll just close this chart.
Okay.
Yeah. So now in this chart, if you see that Mars is very strong here.
Hmm. Correct.
Mars is in directional strength.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So now many people will have Mars in the 10th house. Yes.
Hmm. Correct.
Many people will have Sun also in the 10th house. Sun is okay, but let me talk of Mars here specifically. So what is happening is, okay, that we know that eighth lord is in the 10th, so that means some tragedy has to happen, then only he will go up.
Hmm.
That is all understood what
Hmm.
happened in his
Hmm.
history.
Hmm. Hmm.
But what I am saying is Mars and Jupiter are opposites,
Hmm.
because Mars says just do it and Jupiter says no, don't do it, think. And
Hmm.
Saturn says, oh, I will not let you do, I will let you work for the next 100 years and then I will let you do.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yes. So
Hmm.
in the earlier chart we saw that Saturn was prominent
Hmm.
and Mars was outside of the Kendra.
Okay.
And now here you see where Jupiter is. It is
Okay.
in 12th house.
Okay.
Now, when Jupiter is out of the Kendra and Mars is in Digbal, it means Mars is like saying, oh, I will do whatever I want. The planet who will stop me. Now, Jupiter is not an enemy.
Hmm.
Yes. Saturn is the enemy. But
Hmm.
even when, if you can see any chart where Jupiter and Mars are equally strong,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
they are equally placed in Kendra,
Hmm.
especially both are in Kendra, the
Hmm.
person always has a difficult time deciding, should I beat this person or should I forgive him?
Hmm.
Because one planet is saying, oh, do this, the other Jupiter is saying, no, 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 don't do, because Jupiter always likes peace.
Hmm.
Jupiter always wants that everything should be as per customs. And
Correct.
that's what this man did. Yes, he liberalized the economy. Now, of course, you can always say that Manmohan Singh did that, but everybody knows who was
Hmm.
behind.
Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
So, if suppose Jupiter was in Kendra here or any
Hmm.
other house,
Hmm.
then this person would be like, oh, should I do it? Should I break the custom? Should I break tradition? Should I not?
Hmm.
That polarity, that unidirectional strength would not come. Then I
Okay.
would show you. And then another thing you would see here, the Arudha Lagna is in 4th house.
Hmm.
I mean, if you take Gemini principles, then
Correct.
if you see the Arudha Lagna is also important. So here, if you see the 6th lord of the Arudha Lagna, which is Venus here,
Yes.
from 4th house, 9th house is the 6th.
Hmm.
That 6th lord is sitting in the 5th house.
Hmm.
Now, what does this mean? Now, from from the Lagna, this is not a very great placement, Venus in the 8th. But if you take from the Arudha Lagna,
Hmm.
see, that's what is important. Great personalities charts will be harmonious from so many
Oh,
angles.
angles. Yes.
Yeah. So now I will show you. See, from the Lagna you saw. So this is showing the physical thing.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
And Sun is in the 10th house. That is giving a lot of name, fame. And Mercury is
Hmm.
also in
Hmm.
Mahapurush Yoga. And the Lagna Lord in 10th is itself like a kingly placement. And 10th Lord in 10th is also very strong. But now you see what's happening from the Arudha Lagna. If you see from the Arudha Lagna, the 6th Lord is sitting in the 5th house. Now what is 6th house? The 6th house from the Arudha Lagna can show your enemies. Yes, or what your image about your enemies is. Now what's happening here is the 6th Lord is going to the 5th house. 5th house is what? Is the house of fan following.
Correct.
And that is why his enemies like Atal Bihari Vajpayee, they were his greatest fans. Yes. And so many people, he was loved unanimously so much because his 5th house has the 6th Lord. Now if the 5th Lord goes to the 6th house, it will be the opposite. People will become your fans, then they become your greatest enemies. So many examples, I will not quote. So this is one thing I have shown from the Arudha Lagna also this is happening. I mean, what is promised here is happening from other sides also. And now I will show you Jayalalita's example. It's visible, I guess, not the quality is not good.
Yeah.
So now this is one chart which is very, very bipolar. Which means there are two planets which are extremely strong. Jupiter is in Mahapurush Yoga, Hansa Mahapurush Yoga, and Venus is in Malavya Mahapurush Yoga.
Correct.
Yes. And if you see, house-wise, both are in a precarious state. They are outside of the opposite of the Digbal. And this is known as Dig Shunya. Which means Jupiter should have been in the 1st, it's in 7th, and Venus is in 10th. Now, when you are confused regarding the houses, take the signs. Okay. Now Jupiter is in Multrikon sign here, ignoring the degrees, and Venus is in exaltation. That means Venus is more powerful here. So that means now Jupiter, Venus are also kind of opposites. They represent material and spiritual.
Yes.
So if this lady comes to you with this chart, what is the suggestion you would give? Suppose this lady comes and tells you, oh, should I become a religious person or should I become a person in glamour world, which is Venus? Then you would say probably you would consider becoming glamorous because Venus is more strong. But if you go into side of Venus, do not look towards Jupiter. Okay. So if you think, oh, I will go on doing movies and I will also keep going to temples and I will maintain that image also, it's not going to happen. You are going to have a very tough time. Or if this lady says, I want to become completely spiritual, tell her, stay away from camera. That's it. And that's what happened. She was totally on the other side. And look, she was one of the most famous actresses.
Correct.
And then you have this last 2-3 examples I have. This is Hitler's chart. I mean, I'm in Germany, so I must show this chart.
But is it allowed for you to show Hitler's chart from Germany?
Yes, very much allowed. So here again you see here now here Mars and Saturn are both in Kendra.
Okay.
Yes. But Mars is much stronger. It is in Mahapurush Yoga and it is also very strong. I mean, it is in Kendra and it is in the Mool Trikon sign. And Saturn is there in the 10th house, but it is not in a very great sign. I mean, for Saturn. So that means although this is there in Kendra, but Saturn is not that strong. Now imagine if Saturn would be sitting in the 1st house. That is like total disaster. Because then Mars is very strong and Saturn is also strong. That's like an epic crisis. They are not letting each other work. Yes. So this is also a harmonious chart with obstacles because Saturn, although it is not strong sign wise, house wise it is still strong. So this is one thing. And then Akshay Kumar is another example. Again you see here Sun and Mars, they represent all this physical fighting, and he was martial arts, that all those things are there here. And you see where Jupiter, Saturn are. They are out of the camera. Now they are supporting Mars here, but they are not opposing. Because planets in trines, they will support. They will not oppose. Yes. So that is very true here. And last, everybody's favorite chart. Amitabh Bachchan's chart, if you take out, this kind of similar thing you see here. Now Saturn is very strong in Rohini Nakshatra. In Taurus, it is in friendly sign.
Hmm.
And all these planets which gave him stupendous rise in status
Hmm.
during the Saturn Dasha, they are
Hmm.
placed in trines from Saturn.
Hmm.
So when you make Saturn the Lagna Lord, they go in trines. They don't go into opposition.
Hmm.
So these planets helped him rather than saying, oh, we will try to pull you down.
Hmm.
And Jupiter is also out of the Kendra here. Yes, although it is exalted. So it is still out of the Kendra. So which means that when Saturn decides to act, there is no opposition. So when, if suppose this person would come to you with this chart, what would you suggest? I would simply say, just work hard in life, everything else will fall in place. Everybody will perish. And that's what happened. I mean, he is the undisputed king of
Yeah.
Bollywood.
Sure.
So these are the things which I would like to share. So because when you say extraordinary success, I always focus on this thing that it has to be unidirectional. You cannot have a chart which has four Mahapurush yogas. Now imagine you are a movable ascendant
Hmm.
and
Hmm. Hmm.
all four kendras you have one planet. Na?
Hmm.
Then it's like, where do you go?
Hmm.
It's like a hodgepodge, and then you don't end up going anywhere. That is why if sometimes people say, oh, I have 3 exalted planets in my chart, why my life is so
Hmm.
miserable? That is
Hmm.
why your life is miserable.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yes. So maybe I'll stop the share now. Yeah.
That was very good, Babajit. Really enlightening, I must say,
Thank you.
because these are some of the tricky questions of astrology. It is very
Yes.
difficult to locate all these kind of things. I've got some more questions. Sorry, I'm taking a lot of
Yes, yes.
time, but
No,
nevertheless,
no, you can go on asking whatever you want.
my next question pertains to nakshatra padas.
Yes.
So every nakshatra has 4 padas. Now,
Yes.
the nakshatras itself are well researched and well taught. Okay, there is a lot of material that one can read about the nakshatras itself. But there is not enough material available on the nakshatra padas. What is the significance of nakshatra padas? How does a planet behave differently if it is in pada 1, dharma pada or artha pada or kama or moksha pada? How is it different from the other padas?
Okay, so in this, I would go to the classic explanation which the scriptures have on the 4 Purusharthas, okay? Dharma,
Okay.
Artha, Kama, and Moksha.
Yes.
So in that, what basically this is, this represents the whole horoscope actually. I mean, if you take the these 4 Purusharthas and then 4 threes are, it's 12. So those are the 12 houses. So
Hmm.
basically, these padas are counterparts of the specific areas. Like for example, if you have dharma, yes, so
Hmm.
first pada will always go to dharma. Yes,
Hmm.
so
Yes.
it means that when a planet is placed there,
Okay.
yes, any nakshatra's first pada, when a planet is placed, then we have to make sure that we are very much committed to the duty towards that. And it can also happen that we have to ourselves take initiative regarding those areas. Yes, so sometimes I use this bit practically, that sometimes people tell me that, oh, my Venus is in the first path of this nakshatra.
Hmm.
So it can happen that suppose you want to get married, yes,
Hmm.
then it can happen, even either you are a boy or a girl, it can happen that you have to go on searching proposals.
Hmm.
Proposals will not come to you, you
Hmm.
have to go on doing that hard work.
Hmm.
Yes, because
Hmm.
it is you who have to take the initiative, because it is your dharma now. Dharma means you have to make sure that you focus on that area. So, and that's for the first pada. And suppose you have some planet in the second pada or
Hmm.
the fourth pada. Yes,
Hmm.
now the second and fourth, they deal with sustenance. Why?
Hmm.
Because they are female signs. Yes,
Hmm.
2
Hmm.
and 4 are female, so
Hmm.
that means they will deal with sustenance. So
Okay.
this I use it practically. Suppose there's a person who comes to me with, suppose you take a typical case of India arranged marriage scenario,
Hmm.
okay?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And
Like
then there is a
like we know like we know who's looking for one.
okay, so suppose you get a chart,
Hmm.
a friend comes to you and says, oh, so I got the proposal of this girl.
Hmm.
Yes, Should I marry this girl? Now, the first thing we need to check is, I mean, apart from the compatibility, I'm not speaking of compatibility here. I am speaking is before checking the compatibility, you need to check something else. Of course, there are so many things, but if you come to Nakshatra Padas, then we say that check where her moon and Venus is. Okay. Suppose the moon and Venus or either one of them. Yes. Because for girls, these two are very important.
Okay.
If either moon or Venus or both of them is placed either in the second pada or in the fourth pada, then it is very important that we do a proper background checkup of that girl. And it's same for the boy also. Why I'm saying that? Because it can happen that, because see, these two padas, they have difficulty letting things go. Because the second pada deals with earth. So when any planet is there, it will always try to hold on. It will always try to sustain that. So suppose that person has moon in the second pada of any nakshatra, or the fourth pada, which again deals with sustaining but letting go of that attachment. So it can happen that if you interpret this practically, because nowadays these many cases happen that, the girl had a relationship with somebody, and then after marriage again they start having affair. Now if there are some problems within the marriage, these are some things which I'm hearing very frequently these days, as we all know. So if the other person whose chart you are trying to match compatibility has a planet in the second or the fourth pada, then it becomes essential that we ensure that the person is not having previous connections in the present. Yes. So suppose the girl had a boyfriend earlier, which is very common these days. So you have to ensure and you have to ask directly, probably, if I would be there, that is it all over, or is it that, oh, you still have something? So if that is there, because these people have these traits, they want to hold on to things, then it can get a bit difficult. So that's very good for wealth, because for wealth they will always try to hold on, yes, and do new things. Yes, because the second pada is what, basically it is artha pada, and artha deals with anything which is of value. So the other good thing is, if you see that the overall chart is very good, then if the moon or Venus is placed in either 2 or 4, then it can be actually a very good chart, because then that person will not let you also go very easily. Yes, so you have to see totally. Suppose now moon is in the second or fourth pada, but Rahu is sitting there, then this can mean that there are so many things of the past or something like that which the person is not able to let go. Then that can be a problem. But if you see the overall chart is very harmonious, and then the moon or Venus or whatever, the Lagna Lord or Sun, whatever you take, majority are in the second pada, or especially prominent planets like moon and Venus, then then if the other chart is good, the other chart is harmonious, the other combination, then you can say, oh, then that means this person will value relationships, will value emotions. Uh, they will not try to throw away as people would do if it is either in the first pada or in the third pada. Yes, because 1 and 3, they are masculine signs, and fire is what, basically fire takes a binary side, because where there is fire, there cannot be anything else. If something is burning, whatever you throw there also gets burnt. Yes, but in case of air, it is like, okay, this is also okay, that is also okay. So when it is either in fire or air, then it can become it's like with air, it is like variegated, as you say, it is very much spreaded.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
but with fire it is very much unidirectional. So if planets like moon and Venus are in fire in the first pada of any nakshatra, then we need to make sure that the person has a proper goal in life. The person is properly goal oriented. It's like that Aries, na, properly goal oriented into something. Otherwise, that person, if becomes very confused in life, then it will create disaster, because then the person will keep searching goals, especially if the moon is in the first pada. So that is how you see. And for third pada, it can be very universal, it can be very much accepting, and third pada is generally very good for relationships. But the only predicament is they can let go of things also because they are very fickle. So we cannot interpret the padas individually, and when we are interpreting for marriage, it can have a different interpretation, and when we are interpreting for things like career, then it can have a different interpretation. So if a person is interested in certain careers which deals with a lot of free flowing, yes, like sports especially,
Hmm.
then the first and third can be very good. But if somebody wants to uh, do something which requires sustenance for long time in the same area, then
Hmm.
then 3 is not very good, then 2 is more recommended. And if somebody wants to go towards fields of all this psychology, even astrology, then the fourth pada is very good. Yes. And if somebody wants to become entrepreneur, then maybe the first pada is very good. But with that also you have to ensure there are certain planets in the second pada, because without that you should not tell the person, oh, your 4 planets are in Agni padas now, oh, go and become entrepreneur. Then what will happen, this person today will open one company, then tomorrow they will again open another, then
Hmm.
after 6 months they will keep opening new company, because they are very good at opening but they are not very good at sustaining. So whenever we are giving career advice or relationship advice, we must take the padas into consideration. So this is what I would say.
So, which padas are good for creating?
Yeah, so if you want to become an entrepreneur or if you want to do something new, then the
Yes.
first and the third padas are very
Third
good.
pada.
But if you want to yeah, if you want to carry on something like a family business,
Hmm.
then the second pada and the fourth pada can be very good because they deal with sustenance. So, and then different professions will have their different flavor. So, and then the planet sitting there will completely modify that flavor.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So, this is I think, a very different take on the padas, which I've not heard before.
Yes.
And I think it's a very valuable contribution to the whole subject.
Thank you.
So, Babajit, now let me come to Rahu and Ketu.
Okay.
There is such a lot of uh, material on this Rahu and Ketu, and in some ways there is very little material on Rahu and Ketu. So I would like to delve into your treasure trove and find out your perspective of Rahu and Ketu, the Rahu Ketu axis, as they call, and what is how does one deal with Rahu Ketu in a chart? What is one supposed to? How is one supposed to look at Rahu and Ketu?
Yeah. So if you want to know Rahu Ketu, basically what the way I approach it, see why they say that Rahu Ketu are very turbulent planets or they are creating disasters, or more than turbulence and disaster, it is unknown basically, right? Why do they say that?
Hmm.
Because you to understand that you have to understand the story which is associated with the avatar, yes, which is Varaha avatar.
Hmm.
Vara avatar is who basically, that form who Vishnu incarnated as to kill Hiranyaksh. Hiranyaksh was the brother of Hiranyakashyap.
Hmm.
So he had so much greed, so much desire that he wanted to take away the entire gold. And then when he did that from the
Hmm.
earth,
Hmm.
the balance, that the earth could not maintain the balance, and it
Hmm.
went down into the
Hmm.
oceans
Hmm.
below.
Hmm.
And because of that, Bhumi Devi approached Lord Vishnu and said that, oh, my balance is now gone. And that's what Rahu does. Rahu says, I want everything. I want this, I want that. Ye chahiye, wo chahiye, sab chahiye.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then what happens? Everybody else is in trouble, and ultimately you also die. Yes. Which means that then what happened? Varadev took incarnation, and
Hmm.
then he went down the ocean,
Hmm.
and then he pulled out the earth like this.
Hmm.
And that's what happens when Rahu Dasa is running. Something comes up from the blue which you didn't expect. Because that's how the avatar is functioning, you see. So basically, what's the lesson here is, whatever you have done, whatever you had tried to hide, or whatever you had tried to because Rahu basically represents all the karma that we have done in our past lives.
Okay.
And that is why they say that suppose if Jupiter denies, then Saturn gives. And if
Correct.
Saturn denies, then Rahu gives. And if
Hmm.
Rahu is also not able to give that,
Hmm.
no planet can give you. And on the other side, if Rahu Ketu takes away something from you,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
can't stop it. And this is very important. I would like to share here. I have seen many people, some of my friends who have had relationship issues. I mean, this I am kind of monitoring from last 4 or 5 years, and this is like bang on. This is so true.
Okay.
If they have had a breakup or some serious problem
Okay.
during 1 month of an eclipse, okay, so suppose the last year eclipse was when, on 11th August, I guess,
Hmm.
13th, 21st August, I
Hmm.
guess.
Hmm.
And if something had happened in nearby the month of August or some 15 days in that September period,
Hmm.
then there was some problem, bang on, that relationship is not going to work. And that's happening with people. I checked with 2016 eclipse also and with 2015 eclipse also, because that means Rahu Ketu is taking away things from you if the break is happening during the eclipse,
Oh.
which means that you there's no way you can get that back. Because it's like Varahadev pulling that from the ocean. Yes, so it means that it is there in the innermost core. Otherwise that thing would not come to you. Yes, and similarly, you had seen Donald Trump, his Rahu was transiting the ascendant, I guess, then he became the president. So when these things happen, then you have to understand that it's Rahu who is giving you. Yes, and then basically it means that whatever is there which nobody can see, because Varahadev could bring that out with his tusk. He was in the
Hmm.
form of a
Hmm.
boar,
Hmm.
which nobody could have done actually. Yes, and another thing interesting here is, if you go into the story how Varadev came, that is also very interesting. He came through the nostril of Lord Brahma. Yes,
Okay.
as far as I know, some classics say in a different way, but as far as I know, he came out from Lord Brahma's nostrils.
Okay.
Yes, so that's I mean, what comes out from the nose? Nothing good.
Hmm. Hmm.
but but how in the universe is such a powerful thing coming out from the nostril? And that means in Rahu period these things can happen, that the least expected things happen, the least expected. I mean, you are like, this will never happen to me, but exactly that happens, because the story is linked like that. And what is the end result? Hiranyakashyap is killed. Yes, which means that ultimately Rahu is only going to give us suffering. That is the thing which you have to understand here, because Rahu is very powerful, because Rahu eclipses the sun and moon also. Yes,
Hmm.
which means that sun and moon are basically what? Us, basically, nothing more than that. So
Hmm.
when Rahu Ketu will eclipse the sun and moon also, we
Hmm.
have to understand that who is cutting Rahu actually. That is very important. And the only planet that has the power to check Rahu, that is Jupiter. So that means when we have the help of Varadev with us, which is
Hmm.
what? Jupiter, because Jupiter is God,
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
how much ever low we have sinked because of
Oh.
Rahu,
Hmm.
we can still come up
Still
like that.
come up. Oh, okay.
Yes, we can always do that. There again comes this fate free will concept. We can always bump up from nowhere. See, you take the example of Pandavas. This is the last thing I will say in this regard. Pandavas, Yudhishthir Maharaj, my God, he is the ruler of the entire universe. Yes, that suddenly this gambling match happens, and gambling is what? Basically Rahu, right?
That's right.
Suddenly things are taken away, cheating, Shakuni basically. And then overnight, it's like, as in Hindi, they say, na, takta palat gaya. He became a beggar. His wife Draupadi was insulted. And then thank God Krishna protected her, but whatever it is. But at the end, it was total disaster with him. So that happens sometimes. But then what happened? He did not lose his calm. Yes. And in fact, during that this gambling match which was going on, Bhima had taken a vow that I will drink the blood of this Dushasan and I will break the thigh of this Duryodhan. And then
Correct.
he said to Arjuna, and Arjuna will kill Karna. Yes. So these are the things which happened. But Yudhishthir Maharaj did not lose his calm. He was still stable, because the word Yudhishthira means one who is calm during Yudhi also, in war. Yes, in
Oh.
warlike situation. He is Sthira in Yudh also. That is the meaning. So he was always calm and he followed the Vanvas. Yes, whatever, how many ever years it was given, and then the incognito also. Until the last moment, he
Hmm.
did not compromise with his principles. Till the last moment. He never compromised, in fact. And because of that, the end result was he again became the emperor of the world. Yes, and Lord Krishna ensured that he only rules. So this means that whatever Rahu Ketu can cause difficulties, when we have Varadev, which is who is actually what, Lord Vishnu. So
Hmm. Hmm.
when we worship Lord Vishnu, then whatever problems are there, whatever Rahu related issues are there, everything will vanish, because Hiranyaksh took everything, but then the earth again came out. So Rahu is completely checked if we chant Lord Vishnu's name, if we chant the name of Lord Ram or Krishna, or if we recite the Vishnu Sahasranam, all problems of Rahu will be solved. May not be tomorrow morning, but it will happen gradually. And Rahu has so many things actually. Rahu also represents who? He represents Ravan basically. Yes, because Ravan also is one of the this Shadaripus, the six anarthas, na? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, like this. That video also I will make in the near future. But Ravan is what basically? Last. Yes, Ravan's problem is what? He will always put the eye on the wife of other people. So, and then who finally killed Ravan? Nobody can kill Ravan. Nobody, my God. He's so powerful. But then when Lord Ram came, he perished. So if you just take the name of Lord Ram, that's it. And in Vishnu Sahasranam, Lord Shiva tells to Mother Parvati, yes, Parvati is asking Lord Shiva, oh my dear husband, the whole universe is meditating on you. Everybody is chanting, Om Namah Shivaya. And I am astonished that you are also sitting in meditation. What's going on, man? I can't understand. Who are you meditating upon?
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then Lord Shiva speaks that famous verse, Shri Rama
Hmm.
Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Rama Nama Varanane. That, oh my dear Rama Devi, I am meditating on Lord Ram. Yes, Sahasranama Tatulyam Rama Nama Varanane means 1,000 names of Vishnu, Sahasranama, is equal to Rama Nama. Means once if you chant the name of Lord Ram, then you have chanted 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. And there are other references in the scriptures which also says that 3 names of Ram is equal to 1 name of Krishna. So if you chant the name of Ram or the name of Krishna, and if you try to get close to them by reading the scriptures, as I always keep saying in my videos, that you meet holy people, then you associate, go to satsang, learn the scriptures, and maintain a good lifestyle. By that, Rahu can easily be checked. And stay away from those things which Rahu represents. What Rahu represents? Pornography, prostitution, all those things. Yes, eating meat, killing, bigotry, doing gossip, ladies especially, my God. Stay away from gossip. So if you keep Rahu away and you go towards Jupiter, and then automatically this all the problems related to Rahu will be solved, because ultimately it rules the 11th house. Yes, it rules Aquarius, so that rules the desire. And you see how the zodiac is designed. 11th house is also the natural badhak. So people say, oh, I am unhappy. Why? Because I want to become a millionaire. No, you are not unhappy because you are not having money. You are unhappy because you have desires.
Hmm.
Till the time you are having materialistic desire, you are on a royal road for frustration. You will always be unhappy. So now this does not mean that you don't have any material desire. You go to the forest, but your materialistic desires have to be in line with God, with spirituality. Only then that will become beautiful. And then you become somebody like Yudhishthir Maharaj, who is the perfect example. He was a king, but when Lord Krishna left this world, he just did not speak anything. Yudhishthir Maharaj took Maun Vrat. He maintained silence and he started walking towards the Himalayas. So imagine the level of detachment this person has. So then Rahu can easily be checked if we follow in the footsteps of God. Not that challenging.
Fantastic. I don't know how one can get all this knowledge at 25. The secret to spiritual achievements at 25. You must write a book. I know you have video of how to be a yogi in a city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, Babajit, it was an absolute pleasure speaking with you. The
Yes.
6 questions that you've answered, I'm sure the audience will find it very interesting and very enlightening to go through these answers that you have given. Of course, you have many such questions answered in your 360, 370, maybe now 380. I don't know the latest score, but you did 365 and 365 days. So all that is available on Exotic Astrology on your YouTube channel, and of course your consultation is also available on. If you'd like to mention the website again, Vedic Renaissance. Did you say?
Yeah, but it's in Wix, so it's
Ah,
like a
Wix, yeah.
long name.
So
So
I'll
I will
I'll
put
I'll
the
put
link.
I'll put the link there. So anyone would like to take your astrological advice or your spiritual advice or any other consultation advice from you, they should go to your website. The link will be below in this video. And Babaji, thank you very much for taking time off. I think it's just 5 minutes short of 2 hours. It's your by far your longest video so far. Okay,
Okay.
20 minutes to 30 minutes is the normal size of a video. So it's now 10 o'clock in India. I wake up at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning to listen to another of
Oh.
your videos. So thank you very much, Babaji, and all the best to you.
Thank you very much for inviting. I don't know. I mean, so many people are viewing this channel. I keep hearing, oh, this channel is like too good. So many videos on this and that topic. So I can't imagine that I'm in such a big forum and I'm speaking. So if somebody wants to go to my channel, then you can go and you can see how to be a yogi inside a city.
Yes, very good video. In fact, there are so many good videos, so many, all of it.
Yes, yes. Thank you
All
very
the
much.
best, all the best,
Yeah.
all the best.
Yeah.